Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Yep, we already know you landed. It's the Her Voice Shines podcast. I'm your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from the always hot, real hot Houston, Texas, baby. I'm a proud H-Town aficionado. I've been all across the city today. I don't like the traffic, but I still like the city. And guess what? It's the best podcast on the planet. Why? Because I'm the host and we bring the most amazing women. Have a beautiful guest that's in the stage right now. She's going to come here and tell us her name, where she's streaming from, and we get the magic of her story. Without any further waiting time, here's my very beautiful guest for today.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Michelle Simmons. I'm also from Texas. I am out of Austin. And my business journey started 10 years ago. I started a candle company. We sent everything with all natural essential oils. And so I started pouring candles when I was on maternity leave with my first son. And that was 10 years ago. It was in my garage, very bootstrapped company. 10 years later, we're still going. We have a great production studio. We make everything here in town. So we have a team of makers. And then we also have a retail shop where we teach candle making classes and really like host activities for the community to come in and be a part of our business. And I'm super excited because I'm also now, as a 10-year veteran, as a business owner, I have started a group called Momentum Makers, where I'm welcoming in other handmade business owners who want to scale their business and kind of create the vision for the life they wanted. I started my business when I was working a 9-to-5, and I knew I needed flexibility and just a different way of living. Now that I was a mother, I used to do outside sales. So I'd cover the whole state. I was traveling all the time. And I was like, gosh, this isn't going to work for me anymore. And so little by little, I built this other business that kind of took off for us.
I absolutely love that. It's nothing like a fellow Texas girl. So what's up, Austin? I actually lived in Austin when I went to undergrad. I was there from 2004 to 2008. And I know that it's a different landscape there out there in Austin, Texas, but it is definitely a fun place. But a whole 10-year journey, Michelle, there's nothing really small. I mean, it's absolutely amazing that you have kept stride and stayed in business for 10 years. But I do know that you talked to me a little bit in your intake form about this before the pandemic. You have the new baby. Here this lady is, got this business and all these challenges. And one of the things that's very important about this platform is that when challenges arise, it is not the time to stop, but it is the time to kind of pivot around. Tell me, what did you do to not lose sight of your vision? There were so many challenges. How did Michelle say, yeah, I know it's challenging, but there's still a vision on the other side of this challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of just kept repeating in my head that it's not over until I quit, and I listen to a lot of obviously like motivational podcasts like yours. And so it's like just having that kind of driving me. There was so many times. I mean, the pandemic happened actually like right before the birth of my third child. So here I am, a mom of 3 now, and like everything shut down. And I had a team then that I didn't want to let go. I was like, this is going to pass. Like, there's tons of things have happened in our history, looking back, I'm like, we've only experienced this much of everything that's happened, and people can continue on and persevere. And so we shifted and started actually making like back in the day, like face masks, like the cloth face masks that everybody needed, like medical. So we were donating those. It was just like, how can I keep our team busy? We have skills. We have a whole soft goods team that makes beautiful like sewn neck wraps and eye masks now, like very beautiful wellness goods. And we just shifted around. And so there's been so many times like that. I mean, cash flow issues. I mean, you name it, just in the ebbs and flows of growth, because at every stage that you hit, there's like a whole new set of problems. Right. And yeah, I believe so much in what I'm like creating and putting out into the world that I don't know. I feel like there's a way to figure out this problem. I need different resources, or I need different, support or mentors or experts around me. And I feel like I just keep looking at the problems ahead of me in that way. Like, no isn't the answer, and I feel like Marie Forleo says, like, everything is figureoutable. That's just like my mantra. I mean, I might as well have it tattooed on me. Like, we can figure this out. What's the next step forward?
Sure. It's like new level, new challenges. I'm like, you know what? Where is the level with no challenges?
No.
But it doesn't exist.
Let's get there. Yeah. I mean, that'd be so boring, right? How boring would that be?
Yeah. It's like I mastered this one thing, and then right around the corner, they're like, oh, you thought you had it, girl. Here's the next thing. And I find myself like just understanding that that's actually a part of the journey, and not even wishing for a place. It's always going to be something. There's always a place to learn, always a place to grow. And I'm newer than you, of course. I left my corporate career at 21, and then I took a year off, and then 22 is when I really started to fully walk this thing out. And even at 25, I still feel wet behind the ears. Like, you're just a baby girl.
But I mean, like, the last couple of years have been so different. I mean, there's not like a point, I feel like you say, where you're just like cruising, I don't know. At least it hasn't been my experience. But I'm here for it. I feel like it makes everything interesting. Like, life is such a journey, and what what's put in front of us, I feel like we can handle. So,
I think we get moments that are also too very pivotal. Tell me one of those pivotal moments in your entrepreneur journey that really shaped your leadership style. Because what I'm finding now, and it's this, right? It's actually me. And I tell people, like, my podcast is really my place to passion. People know that I love it. When the camera comes on, life happens, right? And really what happens here is I'm like on a pre-AP course, honors course to life. I mean, it's a reciprocal thing. Like, I've been able to talk to all kinds of women with all kinds of challenges and all kinds of stories of overcoming. So for me, this has really shaped my leadership style, my emotional IQ. I'm like, challenge me. It's the best on the planet. I'm crazy. I'm gonna say it like yeah. But no, it really has really anchored my leadership style and my ability to connect and build strong relationships. So this is one of the pivotal moments, I think, in my entrepreneur journey. And I share it very openly because I want people to know that some things that really feel hard, really, really feel hard, they're actually birthing something in you that you don't even realize is happening. But I'm gonna give it to you. It wasn't for me to take over. It's for you.
I love that. No, I mean, completely. Like, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you're on the edge of something that you should be pursuing, this is very timely because today was the one of the kickoff calls for our group. And I felt that it was my first time leading a group on Zoom, like doing the slides. I mean, I haven't done that since college. I was like, how many years, I feel like for me, 10 years in, that is a very pivotal moment and I don't even know. I mean, I guess feel confident enough to say, hey, I have something that I can help other small handmade business owners with, like, if you're on this journey, I've also been on this, and I'd love to turn around and reach my hand out and help you. And so it's something that I've wanted to do for 2 years, and I can't tell you why I haven't. I mean, just procrastination and whatever in my head, all of the obstacles you bump up against, like with just like the mindset of feeling like an imposter or whatever it is. And it doesn't matter on paper how successful you are. You have to like get it, in your body and feel that readiness. And so I finally do. So I feel like that's a good pivotal moment in my career as an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely. And I tell people, like, I'll just say whatever. I said, you know what, my resume could never match this greatness. So you can look at that paper all you want to. Yeah. But it could never. Yeah, it could never match this heart. It could never match this integrity, any of it. So that's what keeps me grounded, which I think is an excellent segue to the next question, because sustainability is really at the heart of what you do. I was looking around at all your business. I said, let me go look around.
Thank you.
like legit, like looking around. Tell me, how do you ensure that value is at the heart of every decision? I find myself like, man, like, what are to provide more value? What is is value driven? Like, I want it to feel good, but what is the value of somebody to come and spend 30 minutes with me? Does it feel like a value add? So tell me about how you walk down that mindset as it relates to Slow Norm.
Yeah. So there's so many ways that you could take a shortcut when you're making a product. And I will never do those. And so I think that like is the root of our core, so everything we make is 100% essential oils. We're not going to cut it with fragrance oils or do anything else that may save costs, because it's out of integrity of what our business stands for, which is all natural products. So transparent ingredients. We're sustainably sourcing things, from ethical manufacturers. And so I want, when a customer walks into Slow North to look for a candle, that they know we've checked all the boxes. Like, this is a baseline for anything we offer here. And that is the impetus for me starting my business 10 years ago, was because I had my son at home and I started looking around and I'm like, I don't want to burn these candles. I don't want to spray this cleaning spray. Like, I started questioning all the things, because you're kind of, at least I was kind of nesting in like let's get rid of all the toxic chemicals in our house so that I'm not like exposing this newborn to all this stuff. And so I've always leaned more green and natural, but that was really what kicked it off. And so from day one, like, that was the only kind of product I would make. If I'm going to put my name on something and like create something out in the world, it's going to be natural and sustainable and have those properties. And so I think that's continuing, which is great. And it expanded now to the rest of our collection.
Yes, I love it. And I love the evolution of it too, right? I love that you're expanding the collection. It lets me know that you're hungry. You're thinking about the next thing you can provide to your consumer. Whenever I see evolution and I see people stepping outside of the one main thing, it tells me that they're problem solvers and they're looking to meet the more needs of their clients. So I think that's great. Now, this is a question, I'm going to ask you like I'm really in this, but I'm working on this too. Yeah. Tell me how you balance business growth with staying true to your mission, mindfulness, and intentional living. So there's this thing like, Sinead wants to be ambitious, she wants to grow, she wants to do all these things. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm a mother just like you, and time is of the essence. And it gets tricky, being a mom, a business owner, all these different things. Yeah. So really tell me about that balance, and how are you staying mindful enough that, yes, Michelle Simmons is this wonderful CEO, but then there's a part of her that wants to live intentionally, and she wants to, be present and, be a mom. Where's that balance at, and how do you kind of make sure that, you're giving it time to the right spaces?
Yeah. So also very timely. So I, being that my business is called Slow North, always people are like, where did that name come from? And so I have to explain that, slow living and slowing down and being present, like that's at the root of our business. And then North was directionally positive. We're all finding our way through life and taking one step forward. So with that, and being an ambitious entrepreneur, starting a new thing, like another business, I have started, so almost a year now, I every Sunday write something called the Sunday Pause, which is a very intentional newsletter that goes out to our clients. And it's like kind of selfish. It's my way of reflecting and being really slow and like telling a little story about something sweet and looking around, and I curate things that we don't sell, just things that I'm loving, quotes, stories. And I feel like that is one of our most read newsletters. And so I feel like by me walking the walk, that I'm trying to like spread this message of let's all ground down, use your aromatherapy, have slow evenings. And I'm not doing it, I feel like I've built this business for myself, essentially, so of course, not perfect at all, but having that, the root of it keeps bringing me back to the grounded stage, like I can't be out here doing all this other stuff when my business is over here, because I'll be out of alignment. And so I think by its nature, the nature of the business that I started, it's kind of like a cheat, it's like, it's helped me continue to be slower paced and like, gosh, put the phone down, like enough with the social media, like all the things that we know we want to do and we want to be present. And gosh, we feel so much better when we are. So does that answer your question? I think that's
it totally answers my question. Like right on the tail end of that, I was like, man, that was something like mindfulness I was doing like with the social media, because I told people I'm like a reader, but it's been about 6 weeks now, probably. I've intentionally went back to reading 30 to 45 minutes a day. I always kind of read to some capacity, but no, it's like, no, this is the time carved out just to do that. And man, like the level of clarity, like something so small, like in the morning, we're asked to motivational prayer and all this stuff. I go to some type of reading, like something I want to read, whether it's an article or like a chapter in a book or whatever that is. And you think it's like, what does that even do? What does that even matter? The level of clarity, like I am so much clearer than in that cloudness in the morning, all this scrolling and all that. Like, come on. You have to be more mindful about your time and where you give your energy to. And it's easy for you to be on the couch for a second, taking a break, and an hour has passed, and I didn't scroll through, a million TikToks. I'm like, Shanadra, really? Mm-hmm. Will it back in. And it was just that really small mindset and action shift of that reading that I tell people, man, like I just feel like I have fresher ideas. I'm getting fresher perspectives and fresher inputs, and it's not from this goofy
right algorithm driven. Yeah,
sure. So yeah, I totally get it. It was a perfect answer to that. I just wanted you to answer it in a way that felt best. Now, I do like that you're doing local markets and pop-up sessions. I'm trying to get better, Michelle. Like I am behind this year. I have not done any this year. I typically do something where I do a physical event and women come and do these things, and it makes a world of difference. Yeah. Tell me about the feeling of those pop-up events and really what it feels like to be a visible brand out in the Austin streets.
Yeah. So that was the best thing is like when we have now this physical space that we can host other makers in. We have hosted artists that have come in and done workshops, like their own teachings. We obviously host our own workshops, and we've done like mixers. I did recently a small business gathering. Before, when I was making candles out of my garage, it was like I would be the one attending, and that's awesome too. And I still obviously attend a bunch of stuff. But it's like when you're welcoming people into your home, I think it's how I think of it, like I've intentionally created this environment that's beautiful and, grounded and smells good for our shop. And now like you come in and you just add all your beauty and all your talent to it. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like a proud mom or something. I'm like, look at this place that we've created. And all the shoppers come in and they get, a new necklace or a painting or like an art print or something, things that we don't make. And it's just, I feel like it just is all tied into the community of like lifting other people up. Austin, I'm super lucky to have started a business here, I feel like, because it's a very supportive, like maker community, all about community, over collaboration, over competition, that kind of thing. And it feels very true. Like it doesn't just feel like a talking point. And hopefully I live it and can continue to provide that for other makers and artists in town.
Sure. So let's talk momentum makers. We already talked about it lightly at the beginning, but it was not enough light shed on it. Okay, so we have to make sure we put it here. Tell me about that. Tell me a little bit again about how it came about. You talked about it briefly in the opening segment, and what maybe makes it different from other women entrepreneur groups in your perspective.
Yeah. So it is, momentum makers is basically what I wish I had, right? Because it's very geared towards handmade businesses. So a product-based business. We don't have coaches in there. We don't have physical, therapists, or what am I trying to say? Fitness trainers, or, like a lot of other people that are in the online groups I've been in. I have been in a lot of online business groups, but they have never been like, we are makers, we are people that are making handmade products. How do I scale it? It's like you have an Etsy shop and you want to be able to get out of the making every day and step back and run it like a business. And it's for people that don't see a way out of the daily grind. And so I think because that is exactly my story of what I've done. And then I plan to bring in experts in different fields, and like we'll have a finance person, social media, to speak to exactly what we need, and a lot of times we're solo entrepreneurs that have either a talent or an idea for a business and then kind of don't like we really like making the thing. And it wasn't so much like, I don't want to go sell the thing. What's unique about me maybe is that I don't have that background. Like I didn't make a candle until I started the business. Like I don't come from a long history of candle makers or something. What I was looking at was creating a business that I really believed in. And so I have more of the business and sales background that I think helps offset it a little bit. And so that's what I'm bringing to the table. And yeah, so we have an online community. It's it's open, enrollment or whatever. There's no like closing of it. And it's there for when people need it. And I'm super excited to be hosting that as well.
Oh, that's such an excellent addition, I think, to the overall brand of Michelle Simmons, right? Stepping out of this. No, it's real talking to people. It doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, you see the podcast with the brand and all that, but there's still like an essence of Sinead. I'm in it. Like,
yeah,
it has my touch, but I think it's a great transition. It's not a transition per se, but an addition, I would say, to what you're doing. I love that. So tell me this. I think it's a great question to follow up with after that. What would you tell a woman entrepreneur that is experiencing burnout while growing a business? Mm-hmm. Because I think that community could definitely help speak to that, because you're bringing in that education part of it. But burnout is real, and I experienced burnout in corporate, right? And then I was coming out here, girl, thinking it was going to be different, and then I slipped right into I slipped right back into the crack of burnout. And this is real life. And so, in addition to the business, all this other life shift stuff was happening. My grandfather had a stroke. I became a caregiver. It was like a lot of other life just happening in addition to that. So what would be your advice to someone, specifically a woman entrepreneur, that says, you know what, Michelle, I am really on the verge of burnout. Like, what can I do?
Mm-hmm. So what I would recommend is that it feels like when you're on the edge of burnout, and I've experienced this a few times throughout, like having kids, all the things like you talked about, like we're busy women. And I think what I was doing is so what I would recommend is auditing, right? So are we doing things in alignment or out of alignment? And for me, it's like things that drain me or things that give me energy. And I was doing too many of the things that didn't give me energy. So they were extra draining. Like if I'm excited about an idea, I can work till 2 a.m. on it and be super happy, like I can just go all in. And the other things are what it just takes over, and then it drains all your energy and you have nothing left to give. And with running a business, there is a never-ending to-do list. Like you can always, if you're an entrepreneurial mind, like you can always think of something better or something, I can improve my SEO. There's always some iteration that you could do. And so I would say audit our calendars to see how are we spending our time, find a way, make sure the things that you're doing that you don't like are necessary. If they're necessary, find someone to delegate it to. It's like the first thing we can do. A virtual assistant or like, automate. And now with so many like AI agents and things, like maybe you could automate the task that keeps kind of slipping down because you're so burned out and overwhelmed. And then it's hurting your business. I mean, that's what I was experiencing is like, I went through a period where I was just so overwhelmed. When I finally went back through my inbox, because I just kind of checked out, like missed opportunities, people wanting to collaborate with me. And you just kick yourself because you're like, gosh, if I had just like passed this off, I'm lucky now. I mean, the business has grown that I have a team that I can delegate a little bit to. And so that's made the world of difference. I mean, I think feeling like we're going to carry it all is just really unrealistic. But a lot of women, I mean, that's how we feel because of also the extra, responsibilities that we tend to have as caretakers and stuff in our family. Fair or not, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think when I came out, I had to have like a different prioritization system that was different from when I worked corporate for sure. And I think just knowing how to I was kind of put your, this was literally instilled in me, put your head down, get your work done, move on. But what was happening in that, I didn't develop my voice. I did not have a priority system. All I could think about was getting the thing done. And that was not the healthiest way to work. If you don't have a priority system, you can't call out what's what. The other things too, it was that laser focus. I'm going to be accountable, Sinead. So you have to clean up this mess. Like you have to start learning how to let go, how to trust, how to do these different things. And that's, sometimes hard conversation for women entrepreneurs. Especially, matter of fact, I was in the training today for this cohort I'm in, and this lady got on the thing and she said, well, how do I learn to let people trust my baby? She referred to her business as my baby. And the instructor said something that I'd never heard an instructor say before. She said, well, the first thing you have to do is never call it your baby again. Because there are things in your business that you would do that you would never do to your baby. So I don't like the analogy. So when she did that, it shifted something in me. And I was like, well, I've never called it my baby per se, but I've heard it around the industry a lot. But it's definitely something to think about, because maybe just that one shift in mindset baby, this is not your baby. You're going to have to do some things that you would never say, do, look at a certain way that has nothing to do with your child. And for me, I'm an analogy person that just opened my eyes and perspective in that moment as to how she kind of broke that down. But thank you for sharing it, because so many people, especially us women, Michelle, we got so much going on. It's just good for some time to really just hear it.
Yeah, the mental load is real. And I mean, I've heard too, like how your identity is so wrapped up in a business, especially if you've started it from scratch. And it's like the value and the worthiness of you, is tied to the income that the business is making that quarter or year. I mean, there's such a roller coaster with it to decouple yourself as, the solvent individual from this business or the next one you start. I mean, it's a learning process. I mean, I definitely have felt that. I feel like I've uncoupled now, but yeah, I mean, it's a process.
So tell me what's next for Slow North. Let's just say a 12 to 24 month period. Tell me what's next.
Yeah. So Slow North. So we recently, I'm just like, I want to cruise a little bit. I mean, I'm very excited about some growth, but not crazy growth, like just steady, stable growth. We recently had a consolidation. So we had a retail shop and we had a studio, two separate places. I signed that lease right before COVID. So I was kind of stuck in it for the next 5 years. Thankfully, those have lifted. So we have our whole team back under one roof again. And so I just kind of want to enjoy the efficiencies that come with that, because we have been, in a struggle of figuring out how to make all of that work when it wasn't working on paper. And so that's super exciting. I would love to work on some sort of retreat for Slow North customers that is aligned, sort of think of like an adult summer camp day or something where we're hands-on making things. We're having grounding exercises, sound baths, that kind of thing, anything that's aligned with our lifestyle. That's on the horizon, but probably at least 12 months away. But I'm super excited. I feel like that would be such a natural extension for our brand, to host and have more in-person community events like that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question, Michelle.
Yeah.
If your children could look back at this particular time in your life, this space, this chapter right now, what would you want them to most remember about this chapter?
My children, is that what you said? Look back?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want them to feel like I was present and playful and had energy for them. And when they came to talk to me, I'd put my stuff down and look at them, because working from home, I mean, it's like you get so wrapped up, it's hard to turn it off at a certain time. I've started practicing boundaries around when I'm available on Slack, like for my team, like they're there till 6. I don't want to be on till 6. I start, my day at 7. Like I need to have some evening time with the kids. And so putting little practices like that into place have been helping me. Things keep going, it's like kind of like the thing you feel like you have to have control over it all. But no, you have a really great team around you. They can handle stuff and they can, wait till the next day to let you know about this. It's okay. So I think getting over those little barriers are helping me create a more balanced life. So my kids don't grow up and feel like I just worked myself to death their whole childhood. Yeah.
Sure. And we partially homeschool. My son, when school starts back, he goes, we have like a learning coach that takes him to do STEM stuff in library, a little bit during the week, but Monday, Friday, it's just us. And sometimes those other days, it's just us. And it's always important for me to carve out, like in those lessons, a little bit of fun, a little bit of, kind of stuff for it. And just to know that not only kind of was I here to check a box, that we actually connected, that we really had a meaningful conversation. And at the end of the day, if there's something that you need to talk to me about that's not in the scope of these books or whatever, then Mama said, if I don't know, I'm going to try my best to find out.
Yeah.
So I want you to always know that I connected with you, and that if I don't know, I will find answers. So always think about that, just showing up present in that. So I want to have a clean segment, Michelle, for both Slow North and Momentum Makers. When I say that, I just want you to give us just a 1 or 2 liner for each. And this is where you drop all of your connection points. Where can we find you, whether it's your website, social media? We just want to have a clear segment that tells us where to find you and then the overarching goals of these two companies.
Okay. So you can find Momentum Makers at michellesimmons.co. It's a school community. And I'm on Instagram at michellesimmons.co as well. Then you can find Slow North at slownorth.com, and then also on all the social handles at Slow North.
I love it. And let me tell you, Michelle, I thank you for being here. I thank you for just being a radiant other Texas girl and hanging out and having Texas girl time.
Yeah.
I thank you for that. And I really thank you for staying committed to your vision, even when it was hard, even when you had to bootstrap, even though it was cash flow problems, even though it was mindset and children. You still stayed in there, and here you are standing 10 years later, and that is nothing small. So if you ever doubt anything, you better go look at 30 minutes and 35 seconds, what Sinead Washington told you. That it was nothing.
I will. I need those pep talks.
It is nothing small that you are doing. Keep in stride. I'm incredibly proud of you. Now, this is the part of our show we cue to our guests for final thoughts. We tell them to give us some great parting words for the space to be shared, and really something that captures the essence of Michelle. Once you give your final thoughts, I'll be back to close the show. So over to you for final thoughts.
Yeah. So in closing, final thoughts, I think I would just want to leave you with, if you have a vision in your heart and something that is tugging at you, to follow that thread, because there's something there for you, and to believe that you can figure it out. So if you don't have the answers now, you have a way to find the resources, to ask the questions, to get people to help you and make that a reality.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful final thoughts. And Michelle, I have to thank you so much again for being here. And to everyone that's in the Her Voice Shines podcast land, I tell you, miraculous things happen when you let your voice shine. And like the church folks say, I love you, ain't nothing you can do about it. And come on back next time when we have another amazing woman on the Her Voice Shines podcast. And until then, we are out, and we love you.